took a strong power nap yesterday, 3.5 hours. So I feel I watched it last night, and I feel okay today.
I took a power nap starting in the third quarter. Middle of the third quarter, I took a power nap until it was time to come to work.
Started the fourth. I called Yates.
You were out, yeah.
I called Yates. I said, Yates, man, I'm about to shut this bleepy, bam, boom, 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 bam, down.
I got to tell you, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, the commentary was pretty funny in the fourth quarter, though.
Was it?
Yeah, because they were talking about Darvin Ham, and, Mark Jackson was like, yeah, it's my teammate, blah, 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 and, broke the backboard, and then Jeff Van Gundy was like, from shooting or – so just a lot of jokes going on.
Yeah, maybe now that you said that, maybe I was dozing off.
Yeah, you probably dozing
because I saw him break the back. He showed it a couple of times. Slim Jim, though.
He
was a Slim Jim.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was a mean boy, by the way. Catch you with bows to the face and all that. Hustle face, Keith. It epitome of the hustle face.
No, for sure, he was a hustle face. But yeah, once it got away. It got away. It was kind of like
good game through more than half the game. It was good. Then all of a sudden, I think it's when Steph hit the three to put him up double digits, and then boom, boom, boom. You turn around, and you go, oh, damn, what happened?
I don't remember when he hit it double digits, Max, because it looked like they was hitting him like consistently. Especially Klay. Klay was
giving Austin Reeves that work, boy.
Yeah,
we said like the talent gap sometimes on certain matchups where players look a certain way throughout the regular season, and as you continue to elevate throughout the playoffs, you start seeing those gaps, those slight gaps that look bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what you see between Klay Thompson and Austin.
And Klay also, my Max fact from yesterday on This Just In, where you got shouted out, Jay, as usual, didn't watch or didn't even, not only not come on, but didn't even watch.
I didn't get invited
Max
on.
fact was it was going to be the Klay game. I've been saying Klay game until it happens. I mean, Klay, you're not going to keep Klay from having one of these type of games. And this isn't even some crazy Klay game. This is kind of, you expect that at some point.
It's interesting to see Klay play, but everybody acts as though he's not the same player that he once. I'm like, dude, just dropping on people's heads. I don't understand why people felt like he just isn't the same guy anymore, Jay, when clearly he's shooting the ball much better. He struggled the last couple games in the playoffs. But he also, when they was at the high, he was struggling at times during the playoffs. He would then turn to the defensive side of the ball. But right now, from an offensive output last night, dude was 11 of 18 from the field, 61% from the field goal, 8 of 11 shooting threes.
Is that any good? 8 of 11 from three.
So I mean, look, Klay had an incredible game last night. I give him a lot of credit. But the best player on the floor to me was Steph Curry.
Yeah, I agree.
And, Steph had 20 and 12. But, Max, this goes back to a bigger conversation that I know you and I have had multiple times. It's one of these underrated things that occurs, right? It reminds me so much of 2015, Key, because in 2015, Andre Iguodala was able to get so many shots from the three-point line off of the gravity that occurred around Steph, right? Now, at the end of the day, Iguodala did a great job on defending LeBron James, but also due to the personnel on the floor for the Cavs, they walled up behind Andre Iguodala, which forced his shooting percentage to drop. So when people look at the numbers overall, they say, well, Iggy did such a great job on LeBron, but it was a team strategy defensively. But throughout the course of that series, the way they trapped, because Matthew Dellavedova could not guard Steph Curry, they started blitzing all ball screens, and that's when Draymond Green started playing more 4-on-3. They started dragging the ball down after the free throw line, kickouts to Andre Iguodala, knocking down threes. Same thing with JaMychal Green last night when they start going small, right? He starts knocking down shots. But since they started to blitz ball screens, like I said they were going to do yesterday, they dragged AD away from the basket. Their two best defenders, you have Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis, away from the rim. You started seeing Steph make plays, and he gave the ball up early, which created these mismatches, which allowed Klay to get going, which allowed JaMychal Green to get going. And once again, the gravity around Steph is what led to all these plays.
And by the way, back in the day, like even in 16, I was arguing with Marcellus Wiley back then, this argument about Steph. He's making the right play. He's drawing the attention. He's getting it to the right guy. But if that's the guy you're going to be, then in the big moment, then you got to hit those shots. You can't get kind of free and loose with the ball and throw it out of bounds and not take.
Yeah, the numbers were down, but he was getting blitzed multiple times.
It's been a journey for him. I think this version of Steph is the best one we've seen in these moments.
But he was still the best player.
What type of journey he's been on.
He was still the best player on their team.
Yeah, of course.
And but sometimes it just gets into that conversation. I feel like it's one of those things that's underrated because today people are going to talk about Klay Thompson dropping 30. We're going to talk about Anthony Davis being a no-show. But the true star that I want to give him his flowers of the game was Steph Curry.
And he was playing a real point.
Assists.
He was playing a real point guard.
Yeah, and what did they do? A ton of ball screens at the top of the screen, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's how they counter the counter.
Hey, well, here's a question.
Best play last night for him, though, Jay, was on the fast break when he snaked through and he put the ball behind his back twice. He kicked it to the corner real quick on a no look, and I don't know if it was Green who kicked it to Wiggins, and Wiggins dropped the three from the top. Oh, it was like I was sitting here going, "Oh my
One of those
God!"
nights.
No, because he did his deal, put it behind his back, again, boom, over there. He kicked it back to Wiggins, and Wiggins dropped it down from the top of the key. I was like, "Yeah, it's not our night."
Well, Max,
it's not gonna be our night.
That's one of the bigger themes here, though, is Darvin Ham's. He didn't change up the strategy. So the first time, Key, when you stay in drop coverage, one of the advantages to that, having AD off the ball, as I geek out for a second, is when you have Vanderbilt it's called like lock and trail, right? So if Vanderbilt, who's 6'8", is on the backside of Steph, he only forces Steph to go one way when he comes off that screen, right? So if I have a guy on my hip, I can only go right if he's on my left hip. I can only go left if he's on my right hip. When you allow Steph at the top of the key, also now I can go right or left. I can dance with the ball. I can make you change directions. And when they don't do that, that's going to be night out.
I get that, and that was your game plan going in, and that's exactly what happened, and the Warriors won, as you said. Why didn't they feed AD more on offense early in the game? Is it because LeBron had it going? Like, it seems to me if AD's coming off a game like that, feed the man the ball.
Okay, feed him the ball. Key, AD's ceiling is almost in a way, sometimes to me, higher than Joel Embiid or Jokic. But his floor, the fluctuation of the extremes to me, I'm like, one day I'm like, you're a superstar. The next day I'm like, you're JaVale McGee. How the hell is that possible? How do we talk about what is that fluctuation gap between any other superstar in the NBA? I don't think there is one.
Good.
Right? So when you look at some of the numbers here, go back to when AD, game 3 against Memphis, 31-17. Game 4, 12-11. What? Game 5 against Memphis, 31-19. Game 6, 16-14. Played well in that game. Okay, I get to him. Game 1 against Golden State, 30-23. Game 2, 11-7. And a complete no-show. You tell me another superstar where the fluctuation of that gap is that extreme, where you just don't know what you're going to get, night in and not out. I don't know if there is one, Key.
I don't know. Maybe it's Shaq. Maybe it's Wilt. Maybe it's Kareem. Maybe it's Powell. I don't know. Because I tried to tell y'all.
He's saying they're not going to put his number in the
I tried to tell y'all. Not yet.
It's going to be in the Raptors. Trust me, Keith.
I'm just saying.
But
yet.
Still, I don't understand.
As I've always said, the Lakers go as he goes. It's not about LeBron. It's about Anthony Davis. LeBron can have a killer game and shoot the ball well, defend well, play both ends of the floor. If Anthony Davis does not come to the party, the Lakers are in trouble.
But wait, you say come to the party, Key. That's my very question. The reason I'm pushing back, AD is their best player. They have to run the offense through him. I get that. But who's the one running the offense? So my question is, I really don't know. It just seemed to me
LeBron
they weren't feeding AD early.
But LeBron has not been running the offense.
Yeah, that's true. His ball's been out of his hand more.
He hasn't.
I'm saying you're right. Its ball's been out of his hand more, out of
Key,
LeBron's
what's the
hand.
name of your book?
Which one? Just give me the damn
The
ball?
first, yeah. Thank you. So
Really? I never heard that.
It's this world where it's like, well, they're not giving AD the ball doesn't exist in my brain because my brain is like keys. Yo, give me the damn ball. So he took 11 shots. Game 1, he took 19. I mean, look at the last 7 area games. So last night, I'll read it to you from last night backwards. Last night, 11 points. Game before, 30. The game before that, 16. The game before that, 31, 12, 31,
but isn't that
13,
game plan?
22.
You're talking about Darvin Ham.
Also,
just the fluctuation. Look at the chart on
He
ESPN
doesn't control that, does he?
Yes, he does.
Jay,
How?
I also believe that just my observation from afar, not really knowing because I'm not in the locker room, I'm not in the coach's office, I'm just watching body language and stuff like that. it becomes too physical?
No,
for him?
Key. Draymond Green became too physical. I've seen him torch Draymond Green earlier this year.
But you know how it is when dudes are pushing you around and constantly harassing you and got you under there and doing all you become passive at times.
Especially if you have an injury history.
So I read to
so
you
I'm asking you, Jay.
Yeah. I don't understand that, though, even if guys are becoming physical. I read you the last 7 or 8 games, you see the point drop off, right? So even look at the shot attempts. Last game, 11. The game before that, 19. The game before that, shot attempts he has here. It just keeps – I don't understand. 9 field goal attempts. The game before that, 23 field goal attempts. The game before that, 11 field goal attempts. The game before that, 24 field goal attempts. Like, even the fluctuation in field goal attempts.
It's every other game.
Like,
yeah, but
if one game you're aggressive, the other game you're just not aggressive.
But if they switch from last game 1, and they're a little more passive in dealing with you, to game 2, where you really wasn't expecting them to be pushing you around, trying to keep you off the blocks, getting in your face, doing things to you to disrupt your rhythm and your timing, does that not affect the way that you would approach playing? I think it does. But I could be wrong. I only could ask you because you've been on the NBA court.
I don't know, Key. It sounds like we're making a lot of excuses for Anthony Davis.
No, I'm not making – come on, man. You know I'm the last one to make some excuses. He ain't my friend.
But that's why
I don't know him.
I just don't understand how the best player on the court for their team is mentally reluctant. Like, Leg said something to me yesterday about Bam Adebayo that I think is way more applicable to Anthony Davis. He called Bam the most reluctant, dominant superstar. And I'm like, well, hold on. That feels like – AD to me, that's a mentality.
The difference is Bam is not a superstar and AD is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bam's a star, AD's a superstar.
Huh?